Thank you for joining me once again. My name is Janice, and this is Janice Diet. Here I will be explaining to you different events that have taken place that I would more than likely write down in a journal and or a diary. Either way it go, no book and pen, right? So this is an update of my surgery from gallstones, from having my gallbladder removed. And this is the 11th day that I have been out of surgery, and I am doing very, very well. This has been a journey, a painful journey, and I'm glad that I don't have to go through any of those pains again. The pain for me started last year around this time. After I had my 5th kid, I was diagnosed with it 7 weeks after he was born, to be exact. I was diagnosed with it. So they wanted to do surgery, and in that event, I was like, I'm not doing that. Well, what started for me, where it became an issue, was every time I ate cheese or anything spicy, or what I assume spicy, but it was more so the fatty foods that I was eating. I would have this pain, and the pain would start like right up here. It felt like acid reflux. I felt bloated. I felt gassy. I had a lot of gas, and it all smelled the same. When I would go to the restroom to have a bowel movement, it just wasn't right. And so I knew something had changed, but it didn't click until I was diagnosed with the gallstones disease. So there was this one week, like I said, almost a year later, probably was like December 13th or something like that, or somewhere in the first week of December, where I ate this food, and it was around like 6 p.m. And then I was in pain all the way until 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's not acid reflux, because I was taking Goli gummies when acid, the Pepto-Bismol pills, all that stuff. Like, nothing was working. And so I just knew, I'm like, something is wrong. And then that's when I went to the hospital, and they diagnosed me in the hospital for 3.5 days. And they was like, they want to do surgery. And they wanted to do surgery on a Saturday. Well, at this point, I wasn't in no more pain. And they kept checking on me and asking me, like, are you tender? Do you feel tender? And the first day when they admitted me, and then the next day, they asked me, they was like, well, we're not going to do surgery because you're still tender. And so we want to make sure everything is fine. So I didn't decide to do surgery then, because my baby was 7 weeks old and I'm a breastfeeding mom. And being in the hospital at the time, I wasn't receiving a lot of like medicines and stuff like that would make me have to pump and dump. Like, I was only like getting IV fluids, but I wasn't eating. They told me I couldn't eat because they was prepping me for surgery. And so that was the hard part about it. So my milk supply was dipping tremendously. And I was pumping every 2 hours, it felt like. And so I told them, I can't do it right now, but maybe in 6 months, 9 months, when my baby's eating solid foods. 6 to 9 months came, and I still didn't do the surgery. They sent me home with a low-fat diet. That does not work for everybody. I was one of those people that it did not work for. I tried. I was already a vegetarian, so cutting out animal byproducts was not necessarily hard, but it also wasn't easy, due to the fact that a lot of things that I eat had animal byproduct ingredient in it. So it was a little hard. So being vegan was my choice to do, and trying to eat whole foods and plant-based diet, trying to do it all. And it's a struggle, when you are very, very busy, you have a handful of children, and you're trying to balance out life, and sometimes you eat the wrong thing. And maybe it's not the worst thing you eat, but if it's fast, if it's processed, it's not the best for you. And so I tried, and it got to the point where the pain was happening twice a month. Then as I like slowed up on how much I was eating through the day. For instance, like I would have a heavy breakfast or a heavy lunch, and then for dinner I wouldn't be hungry. So cutting out the many times I would eat, because the pain would start at night. And then it would be like lasting for a few hours, so I couldn't get no sleep. Being in pain on top of that, also breastfeeding the baby. So I was sleep deprived when I would have that pain. From there, it started to only be once a month with the pain. So I said, okay, I must be doing good. I even tried doing a 30-day gluten-free diet. And I got to 28 days and then I had pain. And I was proud of myself, and I did lose weight, like 17 pounds. And I was happy about that, but I was still like, dang, I'm trying to do everything at this point. Well, I'm going to have to cut out, I ain't going to be able to eat. So fast forward to June, the 6 months came. I ended up having another pain attack that lasted me. It started from like 7 p.m. and I was still in pain till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I'm going to the hospital. And this just so happened to be the week of my birthday, and I was going to Florida, and I just had it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go in. When I go in here, I'm gonna have the surgery. Well, it wasn't the Lord's will for me at that time, because they gave me some pain medication, and by 7 a.m. Tuesday morning, they was like, well, the pains went down. You're okay. There's no inflammation, so we're going to send you home on a low-fat diet. I was like, okay. So I tried this thing again. And so here I am, come in November, me and my family, unfortunately, tested positive for COVID. Well, at least 2 of our children didn't test positive, thank you, Lord. And they stayed negative for the duration of us being ill. So anyway, we were sick for half of November, so we didn't have a regular Thanksgiving like we had planned on doing. And then we couldn't even really taste our food, and so everything was nasty to us. And so in that experience, because I didn't eat much food, I did not have a normal pain attack that I would normally have, which was, like I said, once a month. So from there, once I got out of the woods, like a week before I had my pain attack, literally at the end of the week, I was still coughing up mucus and stuff like that, but I was negative from COVID. So come Sunday, me and my mother, we had planned on going to a comedy show. And that Sunday afternoon, I ate like a pizza calzone, but it was a veggie calzone. It was a veggie calzone from Hungry Howie's. Well, whatever they cooked it in, like the grease and stuff, like the oil that they use to make the dough, and I know probably the bread is not vegan friendly at all, but that's why I don't really call myself a vegan, because it's still like some things that I eat that's like vegetarian options. But anyway, I've ate this before and it didn't cause me any pain. Well, I ate this, and I do remember that they put like this butter, drizzle some butter on there, and I looked at it and I'm like, now they put too much on here. And I should have scraped it off, but I didn't. And that's not to say that was the main cause of it, but I just believe eating that whole entire thing was just it's not what I needed to eat. But in a way, I'm happy that I did eat it, because there was something happened in my body. And so I ate that around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. And then come 5 o'clock, I started having this like tightening in my stomach. And I was, oh no. And here it is, it's December 12th. Literally just got, it wasn't too long after November is up. So, and like I said, it normally happens at the end of it was happening once a month, but it was happening at the end of the month. So, we in the second week of December, and bam, I'm like feeling this pain. I'm thinking I'm about to come on my cycle, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is just, gas happening. And I'm just like, oh Lord, please don't let this be it. And so come 7 p.m., we leave and we go to the comedy show, and by 7:30, the pain hit. The pain increased so much that I was in pain and my chest was hurting and my entire back was hurting. Normally when I was in pain, it would be like down my lower back, like in the middle somewhere like that, which is also a sign that your pancreas is affected. And so I was in so much pain that by the time we got out of there, out the show, I was like hunched over. I was dizzy, never felt dizzy, never felt dizzy. The pain was almost as if you're in labor and it's not going away, because once that baby come out, you done and you could breathe, right? But this baby was like, like this is going, keep going. And so my mother, she drove me home. I took some Tylenol at 10:30. The pain stopped at midnight. And then once I got home, after taking my mama home and I laid down, the pain started up again. I think it started up again maybe around like 2 a.m., maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. I wasn't able to check the time because I was literally glued to the bed because the pain just kept me stuck. So after that, it was like 6 a.m. I jumped up out of the bed because I felt nauseous. So now I'm throwing up. I threw up 3 times, and well, it was nothing but just saliva, because the last time I had ate was around 3 o'clock p.m. the day before. So my food had already digested. There was nothing to come up. So I tried to drink some ginger and lemon tea, because ginger is good to, you know, settle the stomach, and lemon. And so I tried to do that. And oh, I also homemade like some warm lemon water for myself while I was in pain the night before. I forgot to say that. But that did kind of help, I believe, with the pain I was having. And so when I drank the tea, now it's Monday, right? Now it's Monday. Get up, vomiting, try to drink some tea. Wasn't working. I was throwing that up too. Dizzy. My husband said, "Can you manage?" And I'm like, no. I'm like, I gotta go to the hospital, because this was the first time that I had experienced a pain attack the night before, and then it comes back in the morning. Normally this stuff happens only at nighttime. I also remember laying in that bed and something was moving, like I could feel it. I'm like, oh, this is worse. So I went to one hospital, which is the Beaumont Hospital, and their lobby was so backed up with patients that they took me to triage, and they was like, well, there's no movement, because somebody else was waiting, and they was like, well, what's going on? We've been waiting so long. I'm hearing this. I'm sitting in this wheelchair like, I can't sit in here, you know? So I called my husband back and I said, I need you to take me back to the other hospital, the hospital in which I was diagnosed at in the first place. I should have went there first, but I got to this hospital. I was in the lobby for maybe 15 minutes filling out my paperwork. Then they sent me to triage, and then I was in the back in the room. And I seen so many doctors. I seen the GI doctors, which are the ones that come in and make sure your digestive system is good, because they wanted to make sure that I didn't have no gallstones that moved anywhere else. Because prior to surgery, they would have to go through my mouth and take any of the stones out, because they didn't want to leave no stones behind. So came in there. I was in excruciating pain, y'all. I was just like cringed over. They gave me fentanyl for pain. That didn't work. Then they sent me to ultrasound. And while she was doing ultrasound, I was like crying, because she was like, did they give you pain medication? I'm like, they did. It don't work. It didn't work. So when I came back, they gave me morphine. The morphine relaxed me. I was just like, boom, you know, like, like that. But I can feel, because they put it in my IV, so I felt it like in my stomach, the medicine going through my body, and my stomach was just kind of cramping up from the morphine. My pain was at a 10. The morphine took it down to an 8. And I told them, I said, the pain is still there. So they gave me a little bit more, and it helped. But the whole time I was just like moaning and groaning. And then the surgery team came in. They was like, we're going to admit you. We see you have a lot of stones, and we want to get that out. So Monday, I was in pain all day long. all day long, the worst pain I've ever felt. And so come Tuesday, I was still in pain, but it was like less pain. I was still getting medication because I was in pain on Tuesday. But again, it wasn't as bad as Monday. Tuesday, I ended up having an MRI, and they found that my pancreas was inflamed and that I had a cyst on it. And so when I asked them about, okay, well, do you have to remove the cyst? They said they believe that due to my pancreas being inflamed, the cyst formed. So they said that, so they gave me blood thinners to prepare me for surgery. And then they also gave me antibiotics to help with any infection that I may have had. With that, that's why I had to pump and dump, and the opioids that they was giving me. So I could not keep that breast milk for my baby. So moving forward, come Wednesday, I was still in pain, y'all. That's how I knew this was crazy. And it was due to the fact that my pancreas was affected by this now. And that's when I knew, like, I gotta do this. I mean, from the moment I went to the hospital, I accepted the fact that I was gonna go into surgery. And so Wednesday, I didn't need any more pain medication, but I was able to get up and move around. I was able to shower. I even washed my hair and twisted up my hair because I had the energy to do so. And so the pain was dull, but it was still there. So Thursday morning, they planned for me to have a 7 a.m. surgery, but they had an emergency surgery instead. So my surgery was probably like around after 9:30 a.m. I think I was only in there for maybe 2.5 hours, something like that, with prepping. And then, you know, I just remember once they put me on the table, I seen lights, and then I was out. I don't remember nothing. So when I woke back up, all I seen was lights again. And they took me to recovery, and then they gave me fentanyl again after I told them that don't work. Because I was just like, I'm in pain. So it was about 11:20 when I had asked them when they put me in recovery. So I told you guys about the first day. After, if you watched the previous videos, I did tell you about that experience a little bit and about, you know, how I was feeling. If you go back and watch that video, please. You'll know. Once I got home, I got home on Friday. So normally that surgery is an outpatient surgery, but because I had my pancreas problem, they wanted to watch me. So, and because they let me have food, a soft diet, but I threw that up. And they like, okay, well, if you're vomiting, we need to watch you. But they said that's normal after anesthesia. That was my first time having anesthesia, so it just didn't sit well with my body. So the next day, I didn't have breakfast. I think they had me on like liquid diet. Jello is nasty. They, you know, that was nasty. I appreciate them trying, but that was real nasty. Every color is nasty. So anyway, I just was drinking like vegetable broth, drinking tea, water, apple juice, stuff like that. And then once I was able to keep that down, they was like, okay, well, we're going to try a soft diet. So by the evening on Friday, I was able to go home. The pain was inside, but then eventually my incision started to be sore. And then, like, so every day, you know, it got better. So the insides were sore. Then the next day, it was the incisions being sore. And then, like, the incisions had, like, this stinging kind of pain. So, you know, like, if you have a cut on your hands and, you know, you get alcohol, you know, hand sanitizer on your hands, and it's like, ooh, it burns. It was like that kind of feeling. And so then eventually, the pain just began to wear off. So the first 2 days that I was at home, they prescribed me Tylenol, which was like 625 milligrams. They gave me that, and I took that when needed. So it was every 4 hours, but I would take one, skip a dose, and then take another. So it was pain management. And I did walk around a lot around the house to prevent any blood clots from forming. Because after surgery, they do put these cuffs on your legs and they just squeeze them and stuff like that to keep your blood circulating since you laying in a bed. Get up and walk around. And then I did at home walk around as well. And so just every day has just gotten better for me. I'm just surprised that within 11 days, I have been able to stand for long periods of time. And it's not that I couldn't stand really because my belly was heavy. And I did use like a belly band, like one from the hospital, not one of those real tight ones, of course. But I was using that, and then eventually I was able to prep food for myself, because at one point in time I couldn't bend. Like I couldn't bend. Then as it got better, I was able to squat and then grab whatever I need to grab in front of me. And then eventually I was able to bend forward. I only needed help for a shower twice. And then after that, I was able to shower alone. Now, I wasn't showering like every day because that was just doing too much. Like I would shower every other day. And I just pat my incisions dry. I don't put no lotion or nothing around them. I just leave them alone. Now, at this point, they are starting to itch. And that's normal. You know, when you are healing, you go through those different stages of pain, then itching or whatever. And then these little bandages that they have, it could be irritating me too, because they're starting to peel, but they told me not to peel them off. So they'll fall off on their own eventually. Another thing that I had experienced after the surgery was diarrhea. They said that was normal as well, because your body is literally saying, we lost the organ. We got to figure this out. So your body is trying to adjust to the fact that they just lost something and they have to work it on out. And so I was concerned about that because it was a lot. And then I also I urinated a lot too. Like my hands and feet were so swollen after surgery that every time I went to the bathroom, I would like finish and then more increments of urine would come. And so but I did notice that every time I went, the puffiness in my hands and feet did go down. Eventually the diarrhea started to turn into more like solids and stuff like that. And then it was like more of a regularity. And so that's one of the things cause I was concerned. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be an everyday thing? Is this going to be normal? I'm like, Lord, this is just not it. You know what I'm saying? And so, everything just seems to be working just fine now. I mean, even my intestines and, my stomach, like every time I would eat, it would just be making these sounds and like, these groaning and moaning sounds. I'm like, I'm not hungry, but my body was trying to figure out the way to digest. Because with the gallbladder, with the bowel in there, it squeezes it, and the bowel comes out in increments, if I'm not mistaken. And so now the bowel is just going straight into the lower part of the stomach, or the top part of the stomach, one of them. And so now it's just going straight there. And so that's different. So now the body is like, okay, we need to adjust. So that's the whole entire experience. If you guys have any questions, or I did try home remedies and things like that. So if you guys have any questions, please ask. I'm not a scientist or anything, but this is strictly by experience, and I will share anything that I did try that could potentially work for you. What didn't work for me might work for you. And so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update and share the back history of how I even got to this place. So I appreciate you for staying on here and watching. I hope that this video is a blessing to you or a family member that have suffered through gallstones disease. And I will be back to share more details.